we are here with YRB. This is maybe the same developer that made 20 Small Mazes and the game that I really want to play, the 20 Small Jigsaw Puzzles or whatever. This is their first game that they made, I think. That feels a little loud. Hold on. Once again, sound. Well, I do want sound. I guess that's as loud as it gets. Or that's as quiet as it gets, I guess, is really the thing. I think this was one of their first games that they made, if not the first game that they made. Color shapes to solve puzzles. Okay. Okay, hold on. There's a language here that I need to understand. Color shapes to solve puzzles. New color. Oh, I see. I click on this and that makes it the color that I'm choosing. Circles tell you the colors of neighboring pieces. Okay, so I understand this. Every neighbor is green and then or red. Oh my gosh, am I colorblind? Every neighbor is yellow. It is a little confusing for my brain to understand that this is not, I don't know, I don't like it, I think. But they're all saying that this piece is yellow. And they're saying that they have 2 red neighbors and 2 yellow neighbors. These ones are saying everyone is red. This is saying they have 2 reds and 1 yellow neighbor. Now all circles are given. Okay, thank you. We're gonna pop this over here for a second so I can see over here. This one's blank. Not all circles are given. This one's blank. This one's blank. Okay, you only have 1 red neighbor, which is this one, so that means that these have to be yellow, which is correct here. Now you're saying you have a red neighbor, just 1, and you're saying you have a red neighbor, just 1. Okay, okay. I think I understand. This is also my kind of game. I do like these like simple games like this. Okay. You are saying you have 2 red neighbors. Fulfilled. That means that you must be yellow. You are saying that you have 2 red neighbors. 1, and then this one has to be red. Boop, to make you fulfilled. And 1 yellow. Okay, so you're fulfilled. You are also fulfilled. Now you're saying you have 2 yellow neighbors, which hasn't happened. So boop, there we go. Okay. Oh, I don't like this. You each have to have a yellow neighbor. Well, once I filled it in, it came to me. You are touching 3 yellows, so these have to be yellow. You are touching a yellow and a red. Cool. You are touching 2 reds, so you have to be red and you have to be red if you're yellow. You're touching 2 reds, so you have to be red. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so you have to have 2 yellows and a red. Okay, so these, okay. You have to have 2 reds and a yellow. Wish there was like a try, like a, hold on, I'm gonna make this red for now and then I'll come back to it. So we could do red and yellow. And if we did that, then we would need to do yellow and yellow. Okay, and then you're saying you're touching 2 reds, so then you would have to be red. And you're saying you're touching 2 yellows, so you would have to be yellow. Okay. You are touching 3 reds. This has to be this. And you have to be touching a yellow, so you have to be this. And we get to here. You have to be touching 2 yellows, so you have to be this. You have to be touching 2 reds. Okay, okay. I'm much better at this than I was Demon Hunter, okay? Like, I can follow these rules pretty good. Now, when it gets harder, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Already my brain hurts. Okay, you are touching a red and a yellow. Okay, and you're touching 2 reds and a yellow. So I think it has to go like this. And then you guys are touching a red. Kind of looks like a person. Like he's like, oh, hello. Okay, okay. Let's start here because you can only be one thing. So you are touching a red. But wait, you don't tell me the other ones. Okay, well you are touching, you only have 3 sides and all 3 of them must be red. So I think that has to be that. You only have 3 sides and all of them must be yellow. So that has to be that. And that gives you your 1 yellow. You have to be touching a yellow. So you have to be yellow. And you have to be touching a red, so you have to be red. Great. And then you have to be yellow, and you have to be red. And then you are still missing your yellow, and you are still missing your red. Okay, okay. Not too hard. Look at that, I did all the red ones. Boop. Now let's do all the yellow ones. Oh no, there's blue. Blue, blue. Blue, blue. Red, red. Okay, I understood. I got rid of my heart. I got a little too excited there. Okay, you have to be touching a yellow and a red. You have to be touching a yellow and a red. You have to be touching a blue. You have to be touching a red. And you have to be touching a yellow. Okay. Great. You have to be touching a blue and a yellow. So I think this one has to be yellow. And that means this one has to be blue. Oh, this one has to be blue. And then that means this one has to be red. And then this has to be yellow. And this has to be red. Okay. You have to be touching a yellow and a red. Ooh. Hold on, I'm thinking. Because you are touching 3 things. You are touching 3 things. I see. Okay. 1, 2, 3, right? So 2 of these has to be red and 1 has to be blue. And 2 of these have to be red and 1 of them has to be yellow. But you also need to be touching a yellow. So I think this is yellow. But you have to be touching a yellow. Oh, I guess this could be yellow. Okay. And then you have to also be touching a red. So then this has to be red. I'm gonna die, aren't I? And then this one's yellow, and this one's blue, and this one's blue. Okay, okay. Let's just go in clockwise. Okay, you have to be touching a red and a yellow. And you have to be touching a red and a yellow. You have 3 spots. This is great. Okay, so then one of them has to be red, and one of them has to be yellow. Same there. Interesting. You only tell me about 2 of them. So like this could be blue and this could be blue, but then what is this one? Or these could be blue and then what is this one? So I think I have to start at these instead. Okay. Breathe. This has to be red, this has to be yellow. If that is true, if this is red, then how do I get yellow? Because these have to be red and yellow as well. I feel like these have to be blue. Okay, and then that tells me these. Great. And then that means that you're touching a red but not a yellow. And same here. You're touching a red but not a yellow. And you're touching a yellow but not a red. And you're touching a yellow but not a red. Okay. Okay, easier than I thought. I like starting with the 3 pieces because it's the way that it has to be, you know? Oh my goodness. Okay, so you have to touch 2 reds and a blue. And you have to touch a blue too. So I think maybe this is blue. Okay, and then that would mean these have to be red and these ones have to be yellow. Great. Let's do this one. Yeah, I think this is red. And then that means these are blue. I think this one's red, which would mean that these are blue and these are yellow. Great. Okay, so now, and you're not touching any red. You've got your 2 yellows, you've got your 2 blues, but you don't have your 2 reds. Boop. Okay. Did I just do this one? I did. Do this one. Okay. One of these is red. Oh, frick. Okay. And one of these is red and one of these is yellow. Okay, let's start here. Let's say this one is yellow. That would mean that this one would be red, which would fulfill this requirement. So if this is yellow, or if this is red, then this would need to be yellow. And that fulfills these requirements. Now this one then is touching a red one, so this would have to be yellow. I feel like I should just do... Okay. Yeah. Okay, now I can do it. If this is yellow, then this has to be red. That fulfills that requirement. Great. If then this one is touching a yellow but not a red, so this has to be red. Which means this has to be yellow. Which means this has to be yellow. Which means this has to be red. Which means this has to be red. Which means... Oh, I see. It's only touching red. But they don't always tell you the other... Like, sometimes they leave out a bubble. So I kind of wish they would have put 2 reds here. but whatever. Which means this has to be yellow. And this one. Yikes. Okay, this is red. Sorry, I'm silently thinking once again. Oh, God. Okay. Okay. This is red. It needs to touch a red and a yellow. So let's say this is red. Then this would have to be yellow. Which would fulfill this requirement, which means this would have to be red, but then this is not touching a red or a yellow. So let's say this is yellow. Yellow. Oh, but then I could just make this whatever color these ones need. I think. But then how did we get blue? You know? I feel like this has to be blue. Because none of these other ones say that they're touching blue. So I feel like this has to be blue. Ow, sorry. Then I think this one can be yellow. Or two of them are going to be, I don't know. Let's make this red. Okay, let's make this yellow. Ooh, what do you mean you're touching a blue? One of these circles is blue and one of these circles is yellow and one of them is red? Ugh, yuck. Okay. Well, then in that case, then if this is, then this is yellow. So that they can be touching yellow. But then that means this is red. Great. And that means this one has to be the blue one. Great. And this one has to be the red one. Great. And this one has to be the yellow one. Oh, you're touching yellow. This one also has to be red. They're all red. Ding dong. Time for the circle. Well, before I go on to doing that one, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here. It's kind of a long video, so we're going to go ahead and pause the video. If you like this and you want to see more of this, please let me know in the comments, or by giving it a like, or by subscribing. Anyway, it helps the channel grow, and it also helps me know what you like. Thank you for watching. I hope you had a good one. I know I did. Okay, bye-bye. I love you. Bye-bye.